Coronavirus panic. The United States government must be stopped now. Any country that seeks to control others is a country that seeks aggression. Any country that seeks aggression is a country that seeks war. Any country that seeks war is a country that seeks domination. Therefore, any country that seeks control, aggression, war, and domination is a country that must enslave its people in order to advance this agenda of imperialism. This is a description of the United States of America today. It's become a nation based on control, aggression, war, and domination, and only a totalitarian regime can achieve and hold empire. Watch closely what's hidden from view. While there's enormous amounts of speculation and studied hypotheses concerning this coronavirus, do not allow the virus hype to cause blindness to the government's hidden agendas and methods of achieving dominance over the populace. Things are moving very quickly, and every single piece of new legislation, every executive order, and all mandated tyrannical measures instituted at any level of government could have very dangerous underlying consequences, and these will most likely not see the light of day in any mainstream media. That's why it's so important to seek out those who are researching these documents and tyrannical measures and reporting them on outside the mainstream. In addition, the asinine social changes are not going away anytime soon, so get prepared for normal life in this new surveillance state of America to be one giant TSA center intent of inspection and controlling all movement and action of the public. In other words, life in this country could become one big airport security line, and pat-downs and the metaphorical equivalent or not of body cavity searches could become the norm. What has happened so far is almost beyond the realm of imagination, but more tyranny at the hands of government is on the horizon. Whether this coronavirus is a real threat or not, the authoritarian measures now in place will remain. That alone is reason for worry, considering renewed surveillance, forced quarantine, mandated isolation, high unemployment, forced business closure, medical martial law, economic destruction, ludicrous monetary policy, forced vaccinations to come, travel bans, and highly increased poverty, all due to measures instituted so far. Where will it end? The sad truth is that this assault on Americans will not end, and in fact will worsen in the future. Economically speaking, the damage already evident will cause an undetermined amount of harm to all of us. Some, of course, will face extreme hardship due to job loss, business closure, loss of income, and inflation pressures bound to show up due to massive money printing and distribution. The Federal Reserve Bank has been given an unlimited ability to print money out of thin air. Attempts are being made after passage of the largest bailout package in history to fund corporations, big business, some small business, and even individuals, and all this fake money flooding into the public and private sectors will lead to much higher prices just as people have lost everything and do not have the ability to even pay their bills. One of the provisions in this massive bailout bill, full text not available at this writing, coming into government is the creation of a digital currency, which, if implemented, could turn into a way to eliminate cash, and also to possibly in the future control the entire monetary processes. If China's model were followed, this type of overreach could lead to social scoring and restrictions on movement, travel credits, and even life-sustaining needs should one not comply with government orders. Unemployment is skyrocketing, and do not forget that this is forced unemployment, and unemployment websites are crashing. Many states and cities are completely quarantined, locked down, as new coronavirus terminology would indicate. Social distancing is becoming a pandemic on its own, and shaming others for not being sheep is increasing exponentially. Bankruptcies will abound, and suicide numbers, in my opinion, will outpace death from any coronavirus. For those in certain areas that refuse to comply, basic life-sustaining services such as power and water will be cut off, as threats have already been made. Food shortages are almost certain now, just as things worsen and distribution lines are closing. All this and certainly much more will certainly lead to riots and chaos at some point. Pompeo, the current self-professed lying cretin who is Secretary of State, announced a few days ago that the so-called pandemic response is a live exercise, so active military war games are already taking place, which means preparations are being made to implement national martial law if considered necessary. Remember, 28 states have already called out National Guard units. No one really knows what's being discussed at the top, as anything of importance discussed by government is kept secret, and the cattle are only told what they want to hear, or at least not told of secret plans that might have horrible consequences to the populace at large. One of the worst possible mandates that I think are likely to come out of this fraudulent pandemic scare is forced vaccination of all. The first vaccination that will be mandated will probably be a fast-tracked and untested coronavirus vaccination. I believe that this will be extremely dangerous and could cause mass illness and death. Barbara Lou Fisher explains this national plan here. Be very aware of any fast-track coronavirus vaccine that the government approves, whether it's forcibly required at first or not. The hype is actually worsening, even as so many questions are being asked and not answered, and even as the number of deaths are but a tiny fraction of the normal flu. Governors of many, if not most states are now drunk with power, and explosive and unverified headlines are gaining in number. It's time to slow down and review things thoroughly before drastic measures are taken. We're headed into unknown territory, and once this government gains complete and total control of the population due to this or any other claimed emergency, all freedom will disappear, and what will remain will be the helpless people trapped in a totalitarian state intent on global domination. None are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe that they are free. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, Elective Affinities.